Welcome back, true crime enthusiasts. Today, we're peeling back the layers on one of the most notorious serial killers in U.S. history. Brace yourselves for a chilling journey filled with mystery and unimaginable terror. But first, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss this.
He was charismatic, educated, and possessed a smile that could light up a room. People gravitated toward him, drawn in by his charm and apparent warmth. But beneath that friendly exterior lay a monster. Ted Bundy, a name that still sends shivers down the spine of anyone familiar with his story. Today, we're delving into the dark and twisted life of one of America's most notorious serial killers, a man whose crimes spanned several states and left a trail of terror that would haunt the nation for decades. How did someone like him manage to deceive so many? And what drove him to commit such unspeakable acts? Born on November 24, 1946 in Burlington, Vermont, Ted Bundy's early life was steeped in secrecy and lies. Raised by his grandparents, he grew up believing that his mother was his older sister. This hidden truth would later shape Bundy's complex and often disturbed personality. As a child, he appeared quiet and introverted, struggling to fit in with his peers. Yet even in his youth, there were signs of something darker lurking beneath the surface. Neighbors would recall incidents where young Ted displayed unusual cruelty toward animals, an early indicator of the violent tendencies that would define his later years. Despite his troubled childhood, Bundy seemed to thrive as he transitioned into adulthood. He attended the University of Washington, where he studied psychology and even volunteered at a crisis hotline, presenting himself as the ideal student and friend. Many who knew him during this time described him as polite, intelligent, and ambitious, far from the image of a cold-blooded killer. But behind that mask of normalcy, a darker side was emerging. He grappled with feelings of rejection and an insatiable need for control, emotions that would soon manifest in the most horrific ways. The year was 1974, when the first young women began to vanish from the Pacific Northwest. These women were often intelligent, typically with long, dark hair parted down the middle, Bundy's preferred targets. He lured them in using his good looks and a carefully crafted story, often pretending to be injured, sporting a fake cast or crutches to elicit sympathy. Once a woman agreed to help him, he would lead her to his infamous Volkswagen Beetle, where she would never be seen alive again. The disappearances sent shockwaves through communities, leaving police and citizens on edge. Yet Bundy's clean-cut appearance kept him above suspicion. He even attended law school in Utah, continuing his double life as a promising student and a ruthless killer. As the number of victims grew, so did the pressure on law enforcement to catch him. Bundy's killing spree eventually extended beyond Washington and Oregon, reaching Utah, Idaho, and Colorado. He left behind little evidence, confounding investigators and allowing him to stay one step ahead. But in 1975, Bundy was finally arrested for the first time. It was a routine traffic stop that brought him to justice. Police found suspicious items in his car, things like a ski mask, a crowbar, and handcuffs. It was enough to get him into custody, but not enough to keep him there. What followed were a series of daring escapes that only added to Bundy's infamy. In 1977, he leapt from a courthouse library window, disappearing into the Colorado mountains for days before being recaptured. Later that year, he escaped again, this time from a jail cell, using a hole he had cut in the ceiling. He fled to Florida, where his killing spree would reach a new, horrific peak. In the early hours of January 15, 1978, Bundy entered the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University. What transpired was a frenzied, brutal attack that left 2 women dead and 2 others severely injured. The crime shocked the nation, with Bundy's audacity reaching terrifying new heights. But his trail of terror didn't end there. He abducted and murdered 12-year-old Kimberly Leach, a crime that would later seal his fate in court. Bundy's time in Florida was marked by increasing recklessness, a sense that he knew his time was running out. The meticulous man who had once prided himself on careful planning had become desperate. Just weeks after the Chi Omega attacks, Bundy was arrested again, this time during a routine traffic stop in Pensacola, Florida. This time, there would be no more escapes. What followed was one of the most sensational trials in American history. Ever the manipulator, Bundy acted as his own attorney, using the courtroom as a stage to charm the media and the public. But his charisma couldn't save him from the overwhelming evidence stacked against him. In 1979, Bundy was found guilty of the Chi Omega murders and sentenced to death. Even then, he maintained his innocence, offering confessions only when he believed it could delay his execution. On January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed in the electric chair at Florida State Prison. Crowds gathered outside, many holding signs celebrating the end of a man who had inflicted unimaginable pain on countless families. While the execution brought some closure, Bundy's crimes left scars that would never fully heal. Even today, experts continue to study his behavior, seeking to understand the mind of a man who defied all rational explanations for his actions. Bundy's legacy serves as a haunting reminder of the darkness that can hide behind a charming smile. His story is a chilling warning about the nature of evil and how it can lurk in plain sight. If you found this exploration of Ted Bundy's life compelling, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the darkest chapters of true crime. Let us know in the comments what story you think we should cover next. Stay safe, stay curious, and remember, not everything is as it seems.